I'm Gary from learntoplaymusic.com, and welcome to the Music Space, show number 11, I believe. It's been lots of fun. Today, our special guest is Pat Ramm, Adelaide guitarist and teacher. He performs with the Lizards, the Bearded Clams, the Numbskulls, and many more. And don't forget to whack your headphones on and your Q&A app, and you can ask some questions on the blog. We also have an email as well, which is musicspace@learntoplaymusic.com. So you can email us on that. So say hi, Pat.
Hi Gary, how are you?
Good, mate. So basically, how did you get started in music? Why do you play the guitar?
The guitar, my father plays guitar, and I used to see him play and hear his music and hear his bands, and I was just drawn to it straight away.
Yeah.
Excited me, and yeah, just couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah.
From a very young age, yeah.
So about 7 years old, huh? That's a good time to start.
Yeah.
So you started playing with bands at age about 15. Were there any favourite bands or any experiences in that?
Well, I sort of started jamming as well from a very young age, sort of 8, 9, very soon after I started playing, and with my dad's band, with cousins, with other friends, and then started playing parties and school things, always playing live, always performing at school things and stuff like that, and then started playing, I guess, professionally, earning money from about age 15 in the covers band. Played for about 2 years with those guys, and yeah, travelled all around rural South Australia, and yeah, it was good.
Cool. And you were studying music as well at the time?
Yeah, well, I had informal lessons with my dad, and then had a teacher for about 2 years, taught me how to read music, and then studied music throughout Year 12. Had a really good Year 12 music teacher, Ben Fuller.
Ah, Benny. Yeah, good man of mine.
Bass player.
Yeah.
And then had an awesome teacher as well, Steve Williams, throughout high school, and then studied a Cert 4 for a year, and then a diploma for a couple of years as well, which was, yeah, I learned a lot from, which is cool.
Okay, well, you've had some good teachers, you know that.
Yeah.
I think Ben's in Canada now or something like that.
He's on exchange, yeah.
Yeah, so. Fantastic. And you said Steve Williams as well?
Yeah, I was with him throughout most of my high school years, I think, and still good friends. I'm playing with a band with at the moment, actually, which is a bit of a thrill.
I'll say hi to him from me, please. Cool. So obviously you found the right teachers, so we talked about that, and you started teaching yourself at some point. How did you approach that?
Yeah, basically, I think it was just a natural thing to, people would ask you, because I was playing a lot in front of people, I just get asked to show things, and then formal lessons started probably age 15. I started just having individual lessons one-on-one with other kids I went to school with, mostly younger, and then eventually it became people the same age and then older, and then taught a guitar shop for a few years, and then I've been in high school for about 4 or 5 years now as well, teaching. So
yeah, what sort of styles of music, or what guitarists perhaps influence you the most? And famous guitarists
from a very young age.
Bands.
Yeah, from a very young age. Obviously, my dad was number one, probably still is a little bit.
Right.
And then obviously the first guy that took me was probably Hendrix. Had a record, Hendrix Live in the West, which had a huge impact on me. Just from age 7, my earliest memories is of that record, and then Zeppelin 3, and then a Sabbath 7-inch, which had Paranoid and the Wizard on the B-side, and that all just got me very, very excited. And yeah, that was the main sort of initial impression. And then when I discovered my own sort of stuff, I sort of moved into more alternative stuff, Australian alternative music and punk stuff, and took it from there.
Okay. So you're into lots of bands. So one thing you were going to talk about today was networking. Yeah. So how important do you think that is to forging a career in music?
It's one of the most important things, I think, in the fact that, just if you're a willing guitar player and you want to play, you just got to give yourself every opportunity to play, and then that just comes from meeting people. And I've had some awesome opportunities just from being friendly, making friends with people that I've seen play. Like, I've always never been afraid to go tell someone that I love the show, love the way they played, love their music, love their songs, and forged great friendships. And then that you never know when you can be recommended or asked, from just that little interaction. So,
So what have you got any tips for the people for networking? I mean, a good way to get started, obviously just to go and see gigs and
Go and see gigs and
introduce
just
yourself.
introduce yourself and just be friendly. Say hello, tell them, especially, I mean, yeah, if you like the music, just tell them. If you like the way you play, tell them, and yeah.
You know, obviously
Things will
CDs
spawn
of
from
the stuff that you've recorded yourself or any sort of promotional material that you have on you that you can give to other people.
Yeah. Business card is a good idea as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Organise business cards, and obviously it's not always convenient to carry in CDs with you or anything like that, but
yeah. Now, ear training is sort of going to be the topic for the day. Tell us about ear training. It's obviously something that you're into.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, it's from when I started playing guitar, I guess 20 years ago. There wasn't a lot of. I had informal lessons with my dad, and in the day I just had my guitar and the music I was listening to, and there's no. I grew up in the country, so there's not a lot of. I guess there's no internet back then either. You couldn't access tabs, Guitar Pro, so you had to learn it yourself, and I just took that upon myself to just.
So you just ripped it off by ear.
Yeah, totally. And
what
I
the
just,
guitarist was
yeah,
doing,
and a big thing.
That's the best way.
It is, and the big you learn so much about it, just on the spot, ability to fit into a situation by doing that. I had a Black Sabbath tape that I just devoured. I learned because it was sounding great. It was I had a good feel for the blues at that point in time, and I loved the heaviness of the music and just the simple bluesy simplicity.
Yeah.
And I just found it easy to digest, and I just loved it. Played along, learned every song on it, and it banged it like 10 bad way. It was good.
Yeah. No, it's definitely sometimes the things that you're not able to access, like internet, can make you focus more on the sounds that you're hearing. I have a lot of students that use tab to learn a lot of their things, and I think in some ways it can be a little bit robotic.
Definitely.
You end up being a bit of a parrot, whereas if you're actually listening and working out what the guitarist's doing just by hearing it, it gives you a greater knowledge of how the guitar works, especially if you can hear those notes pretty much straight away and know exactly what fret that the guy's on. So that's a good one to start working on. It can be difficult initially, but the more you do it, the better you get at it, that's for sure. So do you have any sort of particular exercises you have for ear training or anything like that?
Not particularly. I mean, it's more of a thing I developed when I was younger. I guess the first thing is just getting yourself familiar with the three. So I guess there's a sort of three fundamental sounds in Western music. That's to me a blues sound, a major sound, and a minor sound.
Yeah.
The three sort of sounds have always. There's a lot of heaps in between. They're the three main ones, and I always thought getting a good grip of those sort of three sounds, like a major sound, minor sound, and a bluesy sort of sound too.
Yeah, the dominant seventh sort of sound.
Yeah, and getting your head around those things are the first thing.
Being able to identify them quickly too,
definitely.
Especially like you said, if you're in a jam situation and somebody starts playing a minor, if you're not aware of how that sounds straight away, you're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, and it's finding a root note, I guess, finding the key, because that's preparing yourself for that situation is going to get you a long way, because you never know when you might get an opportunity to jam or to play, to be asked to play with a band with little preparation. You need to be able to think on the spot and find a key. And
listen is the big word. Listen too. I think if you're jamming and you're not sure what's happening, don't play. Is a good, especially as a guitarist, it's a good way to start, rather than just going in hell for leather. But I think there are plenty of great apps available too nowadays, theory apps with oral training exercises. So the app will play you a scale or a chord, and then you try and identify that chord, and that can go from simple level to a professional level. And there's a dozen that I can think of already on your app sites. So check them out if you're interested in ear training. So what's next for you, Pat? Apart from what you're doing with the bands that you're in, have you got any sort of major goals or plans with music?
At the moment, just my band, The Lizards, are about to release a single, hopefully tomorrow.
Oh,
all being well. Fat Controller, which is tomorrow, and then there's a new album in waiting as well. We're gonna release probably in summer. So looking forward to that. And just playing live, like I guess playing live is the main thing. The main thing for me, why I love it. Like it's why I've always what the first thing I was drawn to, the guitar and music. Just the live sound, the big amp turned up, the feeling of it, and the fingers on the strings, and also the interaction with other band members when it's really locked in.
Yeah.
This is what I'd really strive to do as much as I can, and as many different people as I can, and just enjoy that side of it. And the writing side too, I'm really enjoying my writing. Different bands and different genres, different styles, different guitars. I play acoustic guitar a lot too, and yeah.
Great. What sort of venues do you perform at?
Because I'm doing so many different projects, they vary from hotels and clubs to halls to parties to weddings to busking to
so pretty much whatever you can.
Whatever comes up. I'm up for anything. Jams, houses.
Yeah, cool. Ben, have we got any questions?
Yeah, we do. The first one, we have an email from Barry. My 5-year-old daughter is very keen to start lessons on guitar. Is that too early?
Depends. I've had experience with kids that young that sort of depends. I mean, kids develop at a different age. I've had 7 is the ideal. I'm not saying that because that was my age, but I've had kids under the age of 7 that are still sort of a bit babyish and they can't.
It's about
concentrate.
focus.
They can't concentrate for half an hour or even 10 minutes on one thing, and quite often the fingers haven't developed enough strength. But in saying that, a 5-year-old could be ready if you give it. You can only try it.
That's right, and I think perhaps a good thing to do is to buy a ukulele or something small that they can have some fun with for a little while and see. They might stick with it and keep trying to make noises with it. That's a good way of seeing whether they're perhaps going to progress, because other times they might get the ukulele or the toy guitar and forget it pretty quickly.
Yeah, don't go and spend a couple of grand on a guitar just yet.
I have an email from Dana who asked if you go into a bit more in depth about the ear training and how does it benefit your playing.
Okay. It benefits your playing because you can get into situations where you can adapt to a situation really quickly. You can play along with people. You can hear what's going on. You can play, and that's the first thing I'd say. And then going into more depth about it, I think if you learn the fundamental scales, the major scale, blues scale, and your natural minor scale. Having the good grip of those things and the chords that accompany those scales, and then just challenging yourself, finding some simple melodic music. For me, I found at a young age Black Sabbath was a good band for that, just because of the simplicity of it and the bluesiness of it. And then finding something like that, and just challenge yourself to play along with it, try and find the notes, because generally speaking, you should be able to. Most people can sort of hear when notes are clashing when they're playing together. So if that answers the question.
Yeah, I think another good one too. If you look back at some of our other shows that talked about the ear training, if you sing the major scale and then try and sing the intervals between the notes, so you get to recognise certain intervals, as in thirds and fifths, the simpler ones initially, and then start to expand so you can recognise sixths and major sevenths and anything sharp fours, flat fives. So the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. So I think it's just a matter of doing it.
We also have an email from Sean who asks, what's influenced your personal writing for music?
That's an interesting thing, because I sort of been dabbling in writing since I was probably 12 or 13. And I think you can look at it two ways, because there's a music side of things and the lyrical and the vocal side of things as well. and they do cross over. And I think as far as influences go, I think it depends what sort of music I'm in the mood to be writing and listen to at the time. From a young age, I think I always liked the song aspects of guys like Neil Young and guys like that. And then moving into when I sort of discovered my own music, I love bands like the Smashing Pumpkins and the Silverchair, and then moving into sort of punky stuff like Pennywise and Friends of Ramm and stuff like that. And so it depends what mood I'm in to what sort of stuff I'm writing. Yeah.
Any more questions, Ben?
That's it.
That's pretty much it. Okay, well, thanks for watching The Music Space. Next week we have a guitarist of 25 years, David Dowling. He's been playing live and loud, talking about smoke and mirrors for easier shredding. And don't forget, you can continue the conversation on the blog or our email address, which is musicspace@learntoplaymusic.com. We'll see you next week, same time, same place, on The Music Space. Let's jam. 3, 4.